I'm the Cash Budget Cajun, and today I'm going to show you how to change a valve cover gasket in your car. You may need to change your valve cover gasket for a variety of reasons. One could be just because it's leaking. A second reason would be as preventative maintenance to keep it from leaking in the first place. Or if you have to do work inside the engine that requires removal of the valve cover, you'll want to replace the gasket. If you have a Honda K24 like this one in my Acura TSX, you will eventually need to do valve adjustments, and that requires removal of the valve cover, and you'll want to replace the gasket before you put that valve cover back on. If you have a modern engine like the one in our Toyota 4Runner, the spark plugs typically pass through the valve cover, so there's a gasket for each spark plug, in addition to the gasket for the valve cover. Now, these eventually start to leak and get oil all over your ignition coils and plugs, which cause expensive problems down the road. So that's another reason you might want to do a valve cover gasket replacement. And here's all the tools you need for the job. You can see it's limited and super simple. A pair of channel locks, a driver with a few Torx bits, a plastic scraper, and as always, your hot cup of coffee and your greasy ball cap. Your valve cover does the important job of keeping dirt and grit out of the valve train of your engine. Between the valve cover and the engine cylinder head is a gasket. That gasket keeps oil in and grit out. Eventually these break down and leak, and it makes a mess out of the engine. In this car, a leaky gasket won't cause any damage, but it makes the car really greasy and a pain to work on. So we're going to change it out today. First thing we do is remove all of the hoses that are connected to the back of the valve cover. Then unscrew the two retaining bolts using the Torx bit. Loosen up the cover by tapping it either with a rubber mallet or a hammer and a wooden block. If you don't have a mallet, you never want to tap a valve cover directly with a metal hammer. Always use something soft in between. After the valve cover is removed, wipe down the gasketing surface with a clean, lint-free cloth. All you're trying to do here is take off the excess oil, making sure the grit on this lip doesn't fall into the engine. Next, use a plastic scraper to loosen any bits of gasket material that are stuck to the sealing surface. It's very important that you not use a knife, a screwdriver, or anything else that's metal, because you can gouge or nick the mating surface and that will cause it to leak. So here's the valve cover. As you can see, this gasket was broken, and I think this is where it was leaking from. So what you want to do now is just pull the old gasket out, and you'll have to go back with a plastic scraper and make sure all that gasket material is removed before you put the new one in. So we have the gasket surface cleaned up. I went ahead and cleaned the outside of the valve cover thoroughly. And the kit came with some grommets that go around the mounting bolts. As you can see, this old grommet is split, and the new grommets will go right in here, and you just replace the factory cover plate for that, and this will be ready to go back in the car in just a little bit. The new gasket has these fingers that make placement very easy, It almost snaps right into place, and that'll make it very easy to put the valve cover right back on top. I hope this video gives you the confidence to tackle your valve cover gaskets at home. I'm the Cash Budget Cajun. Happy motoring.